Flames have absolutely dominated women's basketball for the past 3 years, and their rivalry has captivated millions of fans worldwide. But while everyone's been focused on their battles on the court, the real war has been happening in boardrooms, brand deals, and bank accounts. Forbes just dropped their list of the highest-paid female athletes in 2025, and the numbers expose something that most fans had no idea about. Caitlin Clark pulled in a staggering $12.1 million in total earnings this year. Angel Reese wasn't far behind at $9.4 million. Those numbers sound impressive until you realize something absolutely wild. Their actual basketball salaries make up less than 1% of what they're really earning. The WNBA checks that show up in their accounts every month barely cover a car payment, let alone their lifestyles. So where is all this money actually coming from? And how did two players who just started their professional careers a year ago build empires that rival some of the biggest names in sports? Forbes released their annual rankings in December 2025, and the results sent shockwaves through the basketball world. Caitlin Clark leads all WNBA players at $12.1 million in total earnings, making her the 11th highest-paid female athlete on the entire planet. Angel Reese came in third among WNBA players at $9.4 million, ranking 15th globally among all female athletes. Sandwiched right between them is New York Liberty guard Sabrina Ionescu, who earned $10.5 million and landed at number 13. But here's where things get interesting. Another publication called Sportico released their own list just 2 weeks earlier, claiming Clark actually made $16.1 million in 2025, including $16 million in endorsements alone. That's a $4 million difference from what Forbes reported, and nobody can seem to agree on the actual numbers. What everyone does agree on is this. Clark and Reese are operating in a completely different financial universe than almost every other player in the WNBA. The gap between them and their teammates isn't just significant, it's astronomical. And when you break down where their money actually comes from, the picture gets even more revealing. Let's talk about the uncomfortable truth that nobody in the WNBA really wants to discuss openly. Caitlin Clark's salary from the Indiana Fever in 2025 was roughly $100,000 to $114,000, depending on which report you believe. That includes her base salary, plus any bonuses she earned. Angel Reese made even less from the Chicago Sky, pulling in just $74,909 for the entire season. Reese actually addressed this directly during a live stream in 2024, telling her followers point blank that the WNBA doesn't pay her bills at all. She said her league salary doesn't even cover one of her monthly expenses. Clark's entire 4-year rookie contract with the Fever is worth $338,056 total. That's less than what some mid-level NBA players make in a single game. For context, the NBA minimum salary is $1,272,970, which means the lowest paid player in the men's league makes more than 5 times what the highest paid WNBA superstar earns. When you do the math on Clark and Reese's earnings, it becomes crystal clear that off-court deals make up roughly 99% of their total income. Clark earned approximately $12 million from endorsements and business ventures compared to her $100K WNBA salary. Reese pulled in over $9 million from her brand partnerships, while her basketball paycheck was under $75K. This massive disparity between on-court and off-court earnings is exactly what's fueling the heated CBA negotiations happening right now, and it's why players are threatening to strike. So where is Caitlin Clark's money actually coming from? The foundation of her empire is the massive 8-year, $28 million contract she signed with Nike shortly after being drafted first overall in 2024. That deal alone guarantees her $3.5 million annually through 2032, and it includes her own signature shoe that's set to drop in spring 2026. Nike's betting big on Clark because industry insiders predict her shoe line could generate over $100 million in revenue for the company. But Nike is just the beginning of Clark's portfolio. She's locked in partnerships with Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, and Panini, among others. She even became a part owner of FC Cincinnati in the National Women's Soccer League, diversifying her investments beyond basketball. Clark's estimated net worth sits at around $5 million at just 23 years old, which is absolutely insane when you think about how recently she turned professional. What's even more remarkable is that her earnings actually increased by $5 million in 2025 compared to the previous year, despite the fact that she only played in 13 games due to various injuries throughout the season. Most athletes see their endorsement value drop when they're sidelined, but Clark's star power was so strong that brands didn't care whether she was on the court or not. Her signature shoe is expected to compete directly with some of the biggest names in basketball footwear when it launches, and Nike is positioning her as the face of women's basketball for the next decade. Angel Reese took a completely different path to building her empire, and it's a gamble that's paying off in ways most people didn't expect. When it came time to choose a shoe partner, Reese had offers from Nike and Jordan brands sitting on the table. These are the companies that basically every major athlete signs with. But Reese did something bold. She chose Reebok instead, explaining in a video that went viral that she could have easily signed with Nike or Jordan, but everybody's doing that. She doesn't like doing what everybody else does. She wanted to do the complete opposite and bring Reebok back. Shaquille O'Neal, who serves as Reebok's president of basketball, personally recruited her to become the face of the brand's basketball relaunch. Reese signed a multi-year deal that includes her own signature shoe launching in 2026, making her only the second WNBA player to ever get a signature shoe from Reebok, but her endorsement portfolio extends way beyond just one shoe deal. Reese has over 20 active brand partnerships, including PlayStation, Amazon, Coach, Raising Cane's, McDonald's, Wingstop, and Goldman Sachs. She collaborated with Hershey's on a Reese's Pieces apparel collection, playing on her last name in a way that's pure marketing genius. She's partnered with Beats by Dre, Cash App, Airbnb, Bose, and even Tampax. Reese made history by becoming the first athlete to walk the runway at the Victoria's Secret fashion show, cementing her status as more than just a basketball player. She's a genuine fashion icon. She was named the cover athlete for the WNBA edition of NBA 2K26, giving her massive visibility in the gaming world. Here's where the Angel Reese story gets really interesting. Multiple websites have estimated her net worth at somewhere between $1.5 million and $2 million, but Reese herself has gone public saying those numbers are completely inaccurate and way off. She won't reveal the actual figure, but she's dropped hints that paint a picture of someone doing way better than people think. In one interview, she mentioned being able to retire her mom soon, pay off her mortgage, and make sure her entire family is taken care of. During her college career at LSU, Reese earned an estimated $1.8 million from name, image, and likeness deals before she ever played a single professional game. She's currently the most followed WNBA player on Instagram with 5.2 million followers, which gives her massive leverage when negotiating brand deals. Her podcast called Unapologetically Angel generates its own revenue stream. She's a part owner of both DC Power FC and the Unrivaled League, giving her equity stakes that could pay off big in the future. Reese even trademarked phrases like "me-bounds" to monetize her personal brand, and she launched the Angel Reese Foundation to give back to young female athletes. The real number behind her net worth? She's keeping everyone guessing, but it's clearly way higher than what's being reported online. The strategies these two have used to build their brands couldn't be more different, yet both are working spectacularly. Clark went the mainstream route, aligning herself with Nike's Dynasty, appearing in State Farm commercials, and positioning herself as the safe, proven winner that major corporations feel comfortable betting on. She appeals to traditional sports fans, families, and the kind of mainstream audience that watches primetime television. Reese went niche, choosing to rebuild Reebok rather than join the Nike machine, focusing heavily on fashion-forward branding and dominating social media spaces where personality matters more than stats. She appeals to a younger, more diverse audience that cares about style, culture, and authenticity. Clark's signature shoe is expected to perform at levels that rival male NBA stars when it drops. Reese's shoe sold out in minutes during its September launch and again within a day during its October restock. They're taking different paths to the same destination, building multi-million-dollar empires that transcend basketball. Clark represents the traditional sports marketing playbook executed perfectly. Reese represents the new wave of athlete branding, where social media influence and cultural relevance matter just as much as on-court performance. But there's an uncomfortable reality lurking beneath these success stories that needs to be addressed. While Clark and Reese are building empires worth millions, the vast majority of WNBA players are watching this wealth gap grow wider every single day. Most players in the league depend entirely on their WNBA salaries to survive, and the average salary is only about $102,000. That's decent money for most Americans, but it's nowhere near what professional athletes in other major sports make. Clark and Reese are earning literally 100 times more from their off-court ventures than they make playing basketball. This massive disparity is one of the driving forces behind the current CBA strike negotiations that threaten to cancel the 2026 season. Players are demanding revenue sharing similar to what NBA players get, where athletes receive roughly 50% of league revenue compared to the WNBA's current 9.3%. The question everyone's debating is whether the Caitlin Clark effect that brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball is actually helping all players or just making the stars richer while everyone else fights for scraps. The answer isn't pretty. While viewership and attendance have skyrocketed, only the top handful of players are seeing life-changing money from endorsements. Rank-and-file players are still struggling financially, playing overseas during the off-season just to make ends meet, and wondering when they'll get their fair share of the pie they're helping to create. The battle between Caitlin Clark's $12 million and Angel Reese's $9 million tells only part of this story. The real competition isn't just about who makes more money right now. It's about who builds the bigger brand legacy that lasts for decades. Clark has the head start with her Nike empire and mainstream appeal, but Reese is playing the long game with her Reebok rebuild and cultural influence. Both have signature shoes dropping in 2026 that will compete directly for market share. And that's when we'll really see whose strategy was smarter. What's undeniable is that both women have proven WNBA salaries are basically pocket change for superstars who know how to leverage their platforms. The question that should keep league executives up at night is whether their success will eventually lift all boats and help every player in the league, or if it's going to widen the gap between stars and role players until the disparity becomes unsustainable. The rivalry that captivated college basketball fans and spilled over into their professional careers has evolved into something much bigger than games and championships. It's become a business competition between two completely different visions of what an athlete's brand can be, and the entire sports world is watching to see who wins.